Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is OlliOlli2. Welcome to Olliwood. I did cover the original one, I think, in a 15 minutes of game episode quite some time ago. I played it on the Vita, and it's probably responsible for my Vita taking a few bumps off the wall and possibly through a table. OlliOlli is a pretty brutal 2D skating game. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination, and so in order to continue to torment us, Roll7, the developer behind the original OlliOlli, as well as Not a Hero, decided to release OlliOlli2. It comes to PC a little bit later than it was available on Vita and PlayStation. Let's have a look at it regardless. Quick look at the options menu here. Partial mouse control available here. This click up and down is kind of pointless, especially considering you can click on that. And the sliders right here, well, they work with the mouse. Or you can use the controller in a convoluted kind of way. Resolution settings, hit right bumper or left bumper, or just click on those buttons in order to do that. Full screen on or off, shader detail on or off. It is a 2D game. Not exactly too many graphics options to be seen here. Would be nice to see a little bit of anti-aliasing, though. I've got to say, that would perhaps make something a little bit crisper. Outside of that, you get controls. You have to click down to get them. That's infuriating. Those are the controls of the Xbox One pad, and these are the key bindings, which can be rebound, as you can see right there. I'm gonna be honest, I would not really recommend this on a keyboard. I mean, you can play it, but it was designed for an analog stick. It's strongly recommended that you use a controller for this one, so if you don't have a 360 pad or Xbox One or whatever, then you may wish to, let's just say, look carefully at this purchase, as it might not be for you. Alright, so game modes. You got your career, which is unlock stages by completing challenges. Spots, which is essentially combo leaderboard stuff. The skate park, which is a great place to practice different techniques. Combo rush, which is a local multiplayer mode, as well as the daily grind, which is a daily level that you can practice as much as you want, but you only get to try for the high score once, and you compete against the world. Then you got your profile and the Trictionary, which will tell you how to do various tricks, and that is about it. So let's jump right in, shall we? I've got pro levels unlocked, which I may show you. They're pretty brutal. And we also have the regular levels here, and you'll see how many challenges I've uncovered. I've replayed these levels many, many times, unsurprisingly, because these levels have multiple challenges. Getting them all in one run is very difficult. In fact, even getting to the end can be quite bloody difficult. So without further ado, let's jump into OlliOlli. So it's asking me to do all of these things. Let's just go and see if we can even get to the end of the level in the first place. Okay. That was awful. So, it is a skateboarding game, as I mentioned, and I'm now dead. Okay, let's try that again. It is a skateboarding game, as I mentioned, and it involves doing tricks and sticking the landing and not getting horribly impaled. Although it is rather amusing to watch one way or the other, isn't it? Getting the maximum combo, getting the best score. How do you do that? Well, the game has a landing system, which does take quite a lot to get used to, and that's a grind rail, and I should probably be hitting it. Doing tricks is easy enough. Actually landing, however, that's a little trickier and takes some practice. So you'll be grinding and tricking and jumping your way through as many levels as possible and trying not to get murdered, ow, along the way. And the levels do get harder and harder and harder. So, let me explain the mechanics. Try to explain the mechanics without messing up consistently, which apparently is the theme today. I can't make that if I do a manual. No, I've got to just get up some more speed. There we go. Just land the trick and then go for the jump. There we go. And now we're in business. That's what I like to see. So, most of the tricks are controlled, bloody hell, with the analog stick. So, you hold down the analog stick, and then you release at the right time, and that will give you a trick. Hopefully. And the tricks do get progressively more complicated. You know, you can hold up to do a simple trick, but then many of the moves require almost Street Fighter level precision and key combinations. In order to grind, you also hold the button as you're about to land. And speaking of landing, landing is very important, because if you don't, then you will have to restart the level. And if you land sloppily, then you will lose your combo. Now, the way that you do that is by hitting the A button just before you land, so there is an element of timing involved in it. Now, later on in the game, as you can see, you can also convert those landings into manuals, which will allow you to continue your trick. At least that is the hope at any rate. You can still mess up horribly. And the aim is, of course, to get the highest amount of score possible. Easy enough, right? Yeah, I mean, easy enough. until you realize that actually maintaining and not screwing up is a challenge in and of itself. And then you've got to deal with things like stances and all sorts of other crazy stuff in the process. We're looking good. We are looking good. Let's see if we can avoid messing this up. There's the landing into another manual. Nice. Okay. There we go. No! And that happens over and over and over again. I'm going to jump onto other levels so you can actually see the other levels, because I don't want to be stuck on one level for the entire time. This game involves a lot of restarting because it is absolutely brutal at times, and these are only the amateur levels. You cannot imagine, well, you can imagine because I'm going to show you the pro levels, which are even harder and have ludicrous challenges that require a great deal of practice to get right, and of course have plenty of instant failures. The control method is, in many ways, kind of ingenious, but it's so unfamiliar to me for someone that played like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on the Dreamcast religiously, that it took a lot of mastering. I often forget the key combination, for instance. Like, if I'm landing a grind, I've got to hit the analog stick, but if I'm landing on anything else, a solid surface, I have to hit A as I land. If I try and do that, like that, while I'm going for a grind, I'll miss the grind and just land in the lava. So maybe it's just my brain getting confused, but I consistently mess that up. And that's actually the reason for most of my failures, I think. Bloody hellfire. So it is tricky. It does take quite a lot of getting used to. Thankfully, the game's tutorials are pretty solid, and it's not like the mechanics are complicated. You know, they're well explained. It's just, for some reason, my brain had problems learning how to do it and throwing away everything it knew about skateboarding games prior to that and learning a brand new system that is designed, for the most part, around timing and precision when it comes to landing and remembering what the hell the right button was in order to do it in the first place. Now, you can also do things like perfect landings, perfect grinds, and so on and so forth, which will result in you gaining speed, which is fairly important. If you start to lose your speed as you go through the level, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. We're going to switch over to a different level here just to show you what's going on. But once you do master it, damn does it start to get really, really satisfying. And I can almost guarantee, if you're like me at any rate, that you will be restarting the level over and over and over again, even after just one mess up. Because you want to do better. You really do. And when you do better, and when you actually nail it, it is extremely bloody satisfying. It's wonderful. And you see that combo go up and you just desperately want to maintain it and not screw it up like that. But then the level can so easily go to hell that most of the time you end up just saying to yourself, you know, it's not worth it. Just restart it. We're going to do that bit again. We're going to do that bit again and again and again and again. You know, that was alright, but that was great. But now I feel disappointed because I messed the combo up and I want to do it again. That's where the majority of the game's replay value comes in, perfectionism and trying to beat that score combo. And it's a powerful drug, it really is. You know, if the skating wasn't so damn enjoyable, then I would just give up in frustration. And yeah, there's plenty of frustration to be had in OlliOlli2, just as there was in the original. And yet, something just keeps coming, it just keeps telling you to come back for more and more and more. This is a pro level. Now, this is going to give you an example. This is like the first pro level I unlocked. And some of the challenges are ludicrous, like only grind twice. I mean, that sounds easy, right? You just don't have to land your grinds. Yeah, the way the level is designed, actually not landing grinds is really, really difficult because the level is full of hazards, which can generally only be avoided by precision jumping or, yes, you guessed it, grinding. So, yeah, okay, this is not too bad, but actually nailing the tricks, actually nailing the challenges, it's a nightmare. And then it's like, oh yeah, get like 2.4 million score. I'm like, I wasn't even aware it was possible to do something like that. It's like, oh yeah, it is. It's just you are just too damn terrible, ow, ow, to manage it. 151,000, get 2.4 million. Oh man, I don't even want to try this, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. Land a 60 times combo with a perfect landing. Oh, that should be easy. Absolutely. No problem at all. I don't anticipate that being a problem. Why would it be? Why would it be? I'm not doing bad so far, but I anticipate that I'm... Oh, and you've got to miss those grinds deliberately in order to get the relics. You see what I'm talking about. Thankfully, you don't have to do all the objectives in one sitting. Once you've done the objective, it counts, and then you can just do another run and try and get it a little bit better this time. That's not even a grind rail, so you got to hit the landing. There we go. Oh, my face. This is about the most PG-rated video of this game that I imagine exists, because I would think a lot of people are just swearing at it. My wife came up during my practice for this game and was wondering if I was okay, because the amount of F words and C words and B words and Z words, I mean, I haven't heard the Z word in ages, and of course bollocks that was coming out of my mouth. It was filth. It was pure filth. I was swearing like an aircraft carrier's worth of semen. That didn't come out the way that I wanted to. But damn, when you do nail it, it is so damn satisfying. It is just a lovely, elegant control system that does take a long time to get used to. And as I said, I tried it on keyboard and oh my, it was a nightmare. It really was. You can do it. You can, but it is extremely challenging. And I would certainly recommend that you use a controller for a game like this. It really is designed that way. Oh, my face. Ow. There's plenty to enjoy, though. The leaderboard challenges are very, very satisfying to actually nail, although I don't even know how most of these people actually managed to get their score as high as they did. I don't see it. How? I mean, how do you do that thing? Some people are ridiculous. Ow. I can't even reach the end of the challenge level, let alone actually get a high score. I mean, Jesus. But I want to try, though, and I think that's the key component of a game like this. Lots of people make frustrating games. And in many ways, a lot of those games end up being the domain of masochists. And most regular gamers don't want to keep trying, because the game's it's just too frustrating. And then there's the occasional game that absolutely transcends that dichotomy. Things like, say, Dark Souls. And OlliOlli2, as far as I'm concerned. Because it is that damn satisfying. I mean, everything from the amount of score that you get to the little visual elements. I think that having your character accelerate on a perfect grind or a perfect trick, or having fireworks go off as you nail a perfect takeoff, that's all really satisfying visual feedback. And it has a gameplay benefit as well, to the point where you will keep practicing those perfect landings because you have to, you know? As you gain speed, the game gets more hectic, but simultaneously a hell of a lot more satisfying as you see your combo rack up. Man, that's... I'm awful. I'm awful! I am so terrible at this, but I do have the desire to get better, and that really does matter an awful lot. Yeah, OlliOlli2 is packed full of challenge. It's got a great visual style. It's not a complex visual style, but it's a colorful and varied visual style. I like that a great deal, and I gotta give props to the soundtrack as well, which is, in many ways, quite chill. Let me demonstrate that for you as I shut up for a second. And trust me, it has to be chill. It really does. Because if it wasn't, I think I would be throwing my controller at the damn screen over and over and over again. But that's the point, isn't it? Over and over and over again. Because I'm still playing it. It doesn't matter how frustrating it is. You get right back on the board and you do it again. Because you know that the mechanics are fairly simple, and you know that eventually you should be able to master them. And that's what keeps you playing. Like, there never seems to be an insurmountable obstacle. Every time it seems like, yeah, this is just your fault. You haven't quite got the grasp of it yet. Get good. Get good. It's one of those games that appears very simple on the outside, and then when you start to get through the layer upon layer of hidden complexity, you do discover that level of mastery. Eventually. Eventually. And you are able to do awesome things like that. And this. And then, I was about to say, and then land that perfect grind, but as it stands, we're going to be doing a 1080 face to spike, which is my personal favorite skateboarding trick. There you go. Do something like that. Get that timing right. Nail the manual landing. Switch stance on the landing. Don't screw that up. There we go. Get another perfect. Another perfect. That's what we like to see. Yeah. And mess it up. And try again. And again. And again. And again. And then suddenly hours have passed. That's OlliOlli in a nutshell. As far as I'm concerned. Does that seem like the sort of thing you might dig? Well, it's chock full of content. It's a hell of a lot of fun to play. Simple to learn, yet an absolute fiend to master. And of course, something you can come back to on a daily basis to challenge for the high score, which you will never get. I can guarantee it. It's never going to happen. But you're going to give it a shot anyway. That's a sign of a challenging, rewarding, and thoroughly enjoyable experience to me. It goes by the name of OlliOlli2. Welcome to Olliwood, available on Steam and Axiom Esports sponsor GOG.com for $15 or your regional equivalent. My name has been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.